Okay. Alrighty. So, like I said, we will get started today in a comfortable seated position. So, whatever that means for you today is great. So, if legs crossed is comfortable for you, maybe the legs are out long in front, maybe you've got the knees bent and the feet planted. We'll just start as usual with some bringing awareness to the body and how we're feeling today, and some breathing before we start getting going, moving here. So once you find that comfortable seated position, we're just going to start today by taking our scan of the body. The purpose of this, as always, is to just notice without any judgment how you're feeling, where there are some spots that feel good today, where there are some spots that could feel better today, and just noticing that tension. So you have that awareness to give your body the leeway to move in the way that's best for it today. So starting from the top of the head, moving down through the muscles in the face and the jaw, noticing if there's any tension there. Moving into the neck. As always, if a little range of motion in this position feels good, you're welcome to find that. So maybe if you notice there's some tension in the neck, just giving it a roll or two side to side, finding that little bit of space, that little bit of stretch there. Same thing with the shoulders. Just notice where they're at. Notice if they're pulled up towards your ears a little bit. Maybe give them that nice exhale to relax. And then if it feels good, maybe give them a couple of nice big circles. Just kind of waking them up, getting them moving a little bit, moving your attention down through the arms all the way to the fingertips, just noticing if any tension builds up in the hands, noticing how your wrists or your shoulders are feeling today. Down to those hot spots in the core. We've got a little bit of the torso here. Our lower back maybe feels the tension. The upper back maybe feels that tension, but finding that relaxation, maybe you feel it a little bit through the core, finding, we will get to our spinal twists, but if it feels good right now, taking a moment and maybe finding just a nice twist in each direction or a lateral stretch in each direction, bringing the arm over one side and then the other. Bringing your attention down into the hips, into the glutes. Noticing if the position that you're seated in today maybe changes that a little bit. If you didn't notice that they were tight until you moved down onto the floor. Taking your attention all the way down through the legs, upper leg, lower leg, all the way to the tips of those toes. Now that you've kind of noticed how you're feeling, noticed where you are today, bringing your body to still and center and noticing your breath, where you're starting here. Taking a couple of breaths just at your normal pace and your normal depth, and then starting to slowly deepen through those inhales and exhales. As you inhale, allowing that space for the lungs to expand by letting the chest expand, the ribs expand, maybe the belly expands. As you exhale, maybe sending it to those points of tension that you found as you took that original scan of the body. Nice. Taking just a couple of nice deep breaths here. Noticing how it feels to really breathe deeply. I know for me, this is the first time that I've thought about my breath today. So taking a couple of nice deep breaths is soothing and relaxing. We're going to start to connect that breath to our movement next. So we're going to go into our spinal twists. If you have the legs out long, you're welcome to leave them there, but also if it feels more comfortable to find those spinal twists with the feet pulled in that crisscross position. As we inhale, we're going to find that nice long spine and center. As we exhale, take it to one side, bringing that opposite hand to the outside of the leg. That same side hand comes around behind the back, opening those shoulders up towards that side wall. That next inhale brings us back through center. And then same thing to the other side, exhaling over in that second direction. And from here, I just kind of invite you to move at a pace that feels right. So if you need a little bit of a hold on the other side, finding that hold, finding that nice deep twist. If it feels good to get moving with the pace of your breath, each inhale can bring you through center, and each exhale can bring you to that other side. So we're just moving at a pace that feels right, that feels good today as we get started. Taking a couple of moments here. Connecting that breath as you move from side to side, as you move through the center, making sure that you find that long spine. Taking about 4 more nice deep breaths here. So if you're moving with each breath, that's 2 more times in each direction. When you finish those last 4 nice deep breaths, just go ahead and bring it on back to center. Bringing those shoulders back to face the front once again. Finding your breath in center once again. And we are going to take this opportunity to roll out the head of the neck. So with your next exhale, I want you to just drop the chin to the chest. And then from here, we're just going to roll the head side to side across the front. So bringing the left ear towards the left shoulder, drop it down through center and over to that other side. Just bringing it side to side a couple of times here. Finding this nice stretch. Awesome. Next time that you bring that right ear towards that right shoulder, I want you to take a pause there. As soon as the right ear gets to the right shoulder, take a little pause. Notice how that's feeling. So a lot of times I don't notice how tight my neck is until we start moving. We're going to deepen through this stretch by then taking that left hand and bringing it just around behind the back. So sometimes for support, I use my right to just kind of grab that opposite hand, or it can just stay on your lap. But just bring the left hand around behind the back. That's going to open up through this whole shoulder a little bit longer. Next big exhale, releases the arm, releases the head through center. Same thing on that other side. Bring the left ear to the left shoulder. Find that pause, notice how you're feeling. And then that right hand can come around behind the back, opening up. Once again, wherever that left hand is comfortable is fine. Next exhale, releases that arm, drops that chin back to the chest, right in center. And that inhale brings us up to that nice long spine, lifting the head. Next inhale lengthens a little bit more out of the top of the head, and then we're going to interlace those fingers. Exhale to press the palms forward, round out the spine towards that back wall. Next inhale, lifts the palms up towards the ceiling, nice and long away from center. Our exhale releases those fingertips but keeps them up high. Inhale to stretch a little bit taller. Exhale, take that right hand down to the mat, left arm comes up over top. Nice big lateral stretch. Our next inhale brings us through center, and then we're just going to find that same stretch on the other side. The left hand comes down to the mat, right arm comes up over top. Nice big stretch through the side here. Next inhale brings us back to center. Exhale circles those arms down and around, and then you can either place the hands right behind the hips or interlace them behind the back. Inhale to open up through the chest, pull the shoulder blades together. And then a nice big exhale to release. We're just going to find that one more time. Inhale finds that little bit of extra length through the spine. Interlace those fingers. Exhale as you press the palms forward, tucking the chin towards the chest, rounding out the spine. Next big inhale lifts the palms towards the ceiling, stretch nice and long away from center. Exhale releases the fingertips but keeps them up high. Inhale reaches a little bit taller. Exhale, right hand down to the mat, left arm up over top. Inhale brings us through center. One more time on that second side. Exhale down to that other side. Left hand comes to the mat. Right arm comes up over top. Inhale brings us back through center. Exhale brings those arms down and around, interlacing or placing the hands behind the back. Inhale to open up through the chest. Pull the shoulder blades together. And a nice big exhale to release. All right, awesome. So we're going to just change positions here. So we're going to bring it over to hands and knees. So take a moment to transition in a way that best suits you. If you're facing the short edge of your mat, maybe you just roll over those knees and adjust. If like me, you need to make that little bit of a spatial adjustment, take that moment. And when you get there, we're going to go right into our cat-cow. So our inhale presses the belly towards the floor, lifts the chin, lifts the face. Our exhale rounds out the spine towards the ceiling, tucks the chin in towards the chest. Just a couple of these here. Moving with the pace of your breath, getting that spine really moving in these different directions here. Finding that range of motion. Nice. All right, go ahead and give me one more time in each direction. So one more nice deep breath here. And then bringing it back to center. That long spine right in center. We're gonna find a spinal twist here. So I want you to put all of the weight onto your left hand and lift that right hand up. Now first we're just gonna find this as a range of motion. So inhale to lift the right hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale brings it down and through, not quite bringing the shoulder toward the floor, but just finding that spinal twist. So going a couple of times in that range of motion. The inhale lifts us up, opens up in one direction. The exhale, spinal twist in that other direction. Maybe get a little bend through that left arm. Just a couple of those here. Once again, connecting your breath to your range of motion. Give me one more nice deep breath up and down from wherever you are. And then next time you bring it down and through, so at the end of that last breath, I want you to actually set the shoulder down onto the floor and extend that left arm out just a little bit longer. So the right shoulder is down on the floor. We're in this little bit of a spinal twist. The hips are still up high. Left arm comes out long. Finding this spinal twist. Now, if this feels good, you can stay right here. If you want to take it up a notch, you can take that left hand up towards the ceiling, bend at that elbow, and bring the hand around behind the back. Now, that's just opening up a little bit more through those shoulder blades into that spinal twist. And just finding that position for a moment for a couple of nice deep breaths in our spinal twist there. Once again, if this doesn't feel quite right to have that half bind, the hand behind the back, that arm can still just stay out long. If you have that half bind, that next inhale, lift the arm up tall, extend it out, pull that in, and bring the weight back up onto both of those hands. We're just going to switch sides here. So this time, starting with the range of motion on the left hand. Our inhale lifts us up. Our exhale brings it down and through. So again, not quite bringing the shoulder towards the floor as we get this range of motion a couple of times here. Inhale lifts us up. Exhale brings us down and through. Spinal twist in. Getting the spine going, getting ready for our flow coming up. Nice. All right, awesome. One more nice deep breath like that. So that last inhale brings us up. That exhale brings us down, and then go ahead and place that left shoulder on the floor. Once again, you can extend that right arm out long, or if it feels good, you can find that half bind by lifting the right arm up, bending at the elbow, and bringing it around behind the back, opening through those shoulders just a little bit more towards that side wall. I'm just going to take a look at you guys real quick. Nice. Good. Awesome, you guys. If you found that half bind, next inhale is going to bring that arm back up towards the ceiling, bringing it out nice and long, pull it in, bring that left hand back up to the mat. We're back to our hands and knees. Now from here, we're going to find our first down dog of the day. So go ahead and curl those toes under, and we're going to press those hips up and back. Now, for this first downward facing dog of the day, I want you to give yourself a little leeway, give yourself a little space to play. So maybe you pedal out those heels, find that nice stretch down the back of that leg. Maybe you move the hips a little bit side to side as you get going, pedal those heels out. Maybe you shake the head yes or no. Find that little bit of a stretch through the neck. Finding that nice length all the way from the hands in contact with the floor up to the hips. Trying to bring the ears between the biceps and making sure that you have even pressure through all 10 fingers. We're not just putting all of our weight into our wrists. All right, from here, we're just going to play a little bit with the bend of the knees and an extension of the legs. So our inhales are going to extend those heels up off the floor super high, almost onto those toes. Our exhale is gonna press the heels down, but also bend through the knees. So you're kind of like sitting the hips back into a loaded position. And then just playing with that just a little bit. So that inhale presses us up, that exhale presses the hips back, bends at the knees, gets going in this just a couple of times. So just a little bit, something different in our down dog, finding that extra little bit of stretch through the shoulders. Give me 3 more of those. That exhale presses us into it. That inhale lifts us up. 2 more. Exhale presses into it. Inhale lifts up. And we've got 1 more just like that. Exhale presses into it. Inhale lifts us up. So right back to that normal downward facing dog. Our next exhale is going to float those shoulders out over those wrists. We're in that high plank position. Taking just 1 moment here. And then that next exhale, we're going to lower down. So you can drop those knees or you can keep it from those toes. And then bring it all the way down to the floor so the chest meets the floor. Let the tops of those feet meet the floor. And then from here, we're actually going to do a little bit of lower back work in this flow. So I want you to just slightly lift up. So we're in our baby cobra. Lift the chest just slightly off of the floor. While you're holding that there, we're going to release the hands from the floor and take them out into a big T. So you're pushing them out to either side, and then you're going to pull them right back in and lower them down while you lower the chest down. So we'll just do that twice more here this time. Every time after this, we'll just do it once. So you're just going to lift up the chest into our baby cobra, lift the hands off the floor, extend them out long, bring them back in, and then lower it all down. 1 more time, just like that, just for now. Pressing it up, lift the hands, extend the arms out to your sides, pull them back in, and then lower down from there. Now from here, we're going to bring it back into our downward facing dog. So you can press the chest up just slightly, curl those toes back under, and then either pressing the hips straight up or pressing onto those knees first, and then hips go up and back. Now from here, we're going to find a 3-legged dog with that right leg. So I want you to press that foot up and back. The heel is going towards that opposite wall as if you're placing it on the wall back there. I want you to flex the foot. Now from here, we're going to find a hip opener. So I want you to bend that knee, that right knee, and just open up just slightly. So open the knee towards the ceiling just a little bit and find that little bit of a stretch. So it's a balance challenge, it's a core challenge, but it's also a hip opener. Our next exhale lengthens that leg back out, evens those hips, and then we're going to sweep this foot forward into our low lunge. So bringing it forward between those hands, knees right overneath that, over top of that ankle. And then nice and gently go ahead and set that left knee down off the top of that foot, meet the mat. Once again, just a couple times, we're going to move in 2 directions. Our exhale presses us forward. Our inhale shifts those hips back, lifts those right toes, and find that nice little bit of a stretch through that hamstring. So once again, we're just going to keep going here a couple times in each direction, finding that stretch forward, finding that hip opener from the left side in our low lunge, and then finding that hamstring stretch as you shift the hips back. Once again, just kind of play with it. Do what feels right here. If you need a little bit of a hold in one direction or the other, you can find that. Or if it feels good to kind of flow forward to backward at a little bit faster of a pace, you can do that. We'll take about 3 more nice deep breaths here in these positions. And go ahead and find 1 more nice deep breath, and with that exhale, pressing those hips forward, meeting back in that low lunge where we were to start this one. So those hands are planted on the mat. That right foot is planted, the ankle is right underneath the knee. Go ahead and curl the toe under and lift that back knee just slightly off of the floor. So we're bringing it towards our crescent lunge. We're not going to get there quite yet. From here, I'm going to take that right hand, inhale to open it up, just like we did in that spinal twist for hands and knees. We've got the left hand using as support on the floor. We're opening up the chest. Exhale brings that hand back down. We are going to make it into our crescent lunge here. So once you have your balance, I want you to inhale and sweep it up into that crescent lunge. So our goal is to have that nice long back leg, a nice bend through that front knee, and we're stable and steady, ideally. Next exhale pulls those palms together and brings the hands down to heart center. We're gonna take that left elbow and we're gonna try and get it to that right knee. So one more spinal twist here. So bring the left elbow towards the right knee. If it is there, you can set it on top and use it for support, stack those hands. If it's not there, maybe you bring that left hand down towards the floor and just find the spinal twist with a little bit more stability. Next, inhale, use your core, bring it back up to that crescent lunge. Extend those arms up nice and tall. And exhale to pull them down towards the floor just briefly, because we're going to step that left foot forward to meet the right. So go ahead and step it up, rock off that heel. Our next inhale is going to sit our hips back and lift our arms up into our chair here. Now this is going to prepare us. We're going to bring it into eagle after we do this once on each side. But for now, that next inhale stands us up nice and tall. And then our exhale pulls us forward back into that forward fold. All right, from here, let's go ahead and plant those hands, step those feet back into our downward facing dog. And we're back pretty much to the beginning here. So we're gonna start off with that little bit of a knee bend. So our inhale is gonna press up onto those toes. That exhale is gonna bend those knees and sit those hips back. We're gonna do that twice more here. Inhale presses us up. Exhale sits those hips back, bends at those knees. One more time, just like that. Inhale brings us up tall. Exhale, bends those knees, presses it back, and then bringing it right back to that downward facing dog. Our next exhale shifts the shoulders out over the wrists, and from the toes or from the knees, we lower down. Well, like I said, we're gonna find that little spinal lift here. So go ahead and let the tops of the feet meet the mat, lift up into that little baby cobra, lift those hands, extend the arms out into a T, pull them back in, plant them down, and we're gonna bring it back to our downward facing dog. Roll those toes under, press those hips up and back. We've got our three-legged dog on the other side. So when you get there, that left foot comes up and back, three-legged dog. And then we've got that hip opener. So bending that left knee and trying to open it up towards the ceiling. So again, a little bit of a balance challenge here, a little bit of a hip opener. Next exhale lengthens that leg, and then we're gonna sweep it forward, planting that foot back on the ground. We're bringing it right into our low lunge, so nice and gentle, set that back knee down. Let the top of that foot meet the mat. We've got our little forward to backward flow. So exhale shifts you forward, inhale shifts you backwards, finding that hamstring stretch. And once again, we'll spend a couple of moments here to get this side stretched out, just like we did with the other one. So take it at your pace. Maybe you find a little hold as you get started. Maybe you flow a little bit faster as you get going here. Nice. All right, a couple more times in each direction. And go ahead and give me one more nice deep breath with that last exhale, shifting it back forward into that low lunge. From here, we've got our little spinal twist. So I want you to curl that back toe under, lift the knee, leave that right hand on the ground. Inhale to open up through that left arm. Spinal twist opens us up. Our exhale brings that hand back down, find your balance. And with that next inhale, we're bringing it to our crescent lunge. Sweep those arms up. We're trying to lengthen that back leg. We've got that bend through that left knee. Nice. Next exhale pulls the palms together, bring them down to heart center. Once again, we're going to make that attempt to bring that right elbow over to that left knee here. So our spinal twist brings it back. If you've got it there, setting palm on top of palm. If you don't quite have it there, maybe you use your core to float you up a little bit, or maybe you use that opposite hand for a little bit more stability. Our next inhale brings us back to center, extends those arms up, and then our exhale folds us forward. Place those hands just briefly. We're going to bring it into our chair up next. So step that right foot forward, and that next inhale sweeps those arms up and sits those hips back. A little tiny hold here. Nice. Next inhale stands us up tall. And our exhale folds us forward back into that forward fold. Those legs are a little bit longer, finding that stretch. And then we're going to step it right back into that downward facing dog. So go ahead and plant those hands, take those feet back, and take just a moment here. All right, we're gonna keep moving with that. We will add eagle this time after our chair. So we're gonna find 2 of those little knee bends here. Our inhale presses those feet up onto those toes. Our exhale sits those hips back, bends those knees. One more time, just like that. Inhale presses us up onto those toes. Exhale sits those hips back, bends at those knees. And then our inhale just brings us back up to our neutral downward facing dog. Our next exhale floats those shoulders out over those wrists, and from the toes or from the knees, we lower down through our chaturanga. All the way to the floor here, because we've got our little back extension. So lifting the chest just slightly up onto the floor, lift those hands, extend them out into that T, pull them back in, lower down. We're taking it back to our downward facing dog. Curl those toes under, either pressing those hips straight up or bringing it to those knees first, and then hips go up and back. 3-legged dog on that right side. Inhale brings that foot up and back. Hip opener bends at that knee, opens us up just slightly towards that side wall, a little balance challenge. Our next inhale lengthens that leg and sweeps it forward. We're gonna bring it to that low lunge, nice and easy, set that knee down at the top of that foot, meet the mat. We're gonna find twice in each direction here. So our exhale presses us forward. Our inhale shifts those hips back into that hamstring stretch. And then we'll find that just one more time. That exhale presses us forward. Our inhale shifts those hips back, hamstring stretch. Our exhale presses us back forward into that low lunge. Curl that back toe under, lift the knee, keep the left hand planted, open up through the right, spinal twist. Exhale, pulls that hand back down to the mat. Inhale, finds your balance and scoops those arms up, crescent lunge. Exhale, pulls the palms together and brings the hands down to heart center. Left elbow going for that right knee here, spinal twist once again. Nice. Next inhale brings us back to center and lengthens those arms up nice and long. Exhale, folds us forward, plants those hands, and then rocks that left foot forward to meet the right. Our next inhale finds us in our chair pose, so sweep those arms up, sit those hips back. Now from here, I'm just gonna turn so you can see me. We're gonna go into our eagle. We're gonna take that right foot, we're gonna extend just slightly on the left as we lift the right, and then we're gonna cross it over and sit those hips back down. So this is kind of like a single leg chair, but we're just crossing that foot over top and sitting those hips down. We've still got that long spine. Now our right leg is on top, so if you have your balance, you can bring that right hand underneath and circle those arms around. If you come out of this, we're gonna spend another moment here, so I invite you to just nice and easy bring it back into it. Nice. Good, your next inhale lengthens those arms, lengthens that left leg, steps that right foot back down, and our exhale folds us forward, forward fold. Nice. Okay, go ahead and plant those hands, step those feet back, downward facing dog. Now, if you'd like to take a moment, you're welcome to sit into that child's pose. If you don't need a moment, we're just going to take it right back into it. So if you're fine child's pose, meet us in the down dog when we finish these little knee bends. Our inhale is going to press us up onto our toes. Our exhale is going to bend those knees and sit those hips back. We're going to do that one more time. Our inhale presses us up onto those toes. Our exhale sits it back, bending at those knees. If you found that child's pose, go ahead and bring it up to that down dog. Everyone is in their nice neutral downward facing dog. From here, our exhale shifts the shoulders out over the wrists and we lower through our chaturanga from the toes or the knees. All the way to the floor. Our inhale lifts us to that baby cobra, lifts those hands, extends them out into that T position, and then exhale to go ahead and pull those hands back in and lower the chest back down to the floor. Curl those toes under, hips go up and back into our downward facing dog. Once again, you can bring it onto those knees first if you need to, and then bring it up and back. 3-legged dog on that left side here. Our inhale presses that foot up and back. Hip opener, exhale bends that left knee, opens up just slightly, a little balance challenge. Next inhale, lengthens that leg back up, and we exhale to sweep it forward into that low lunge. Once again, we're going to find that twice in each direction. Let that back knee come nice and soft to the floor. Top of the foot meets the mat. Exhale, shifts the hips forward. Inhale, shifts them back, opens up through that hamstring, nice big stretch. Just like that, one more time in each direction. Our exhale presses us forward. Our inhale shifts those hips back into that hamstring stretch. Nice and awesome. And our exhale presses us Back forward, plants those hands. We've got our spinal twist next. Crawl that back to under, lift the knee. Right hand stays on the mat, left arm opens up into that nice big spinal twist here. Exhale, brings that hand back down. When you have your balance, our inhale sweeps the arms back up into that nice lunge. Nice bend through that left knee. Trying to lengthen that right leg. Our exhale pulls the palms together and brings the hands to heart center. Spinal twist once again. The right elbow is going to that left knee. Bring it over here. Nice little spinal twist. Our next inhale brings us back to center and extends those arms up. Our exhale folds us forward just briefly, and we're going to rock that right foot forward to meet the left. Our next inhale finds that chair pose. Sweep those arms up, sit those hips back. From here, we're going to go to our eagle. So this time that left foot lifts off of the mat as you extend that right leg, crosses over, and then just bend through that right knee, swing those hips back. Our left is on top, so our left arm will go underneath if you'd like to bring those hands into that eagle pose. Once again, we'll be here for a moment or two, so if you come out of it, just take a moment and try and bring it back into it. Nice work. Looking good. That next inhale extends those arms up, lifts that leg off of the other, sits those hips back, and then swan dive it down, forward fold. Bringing those legs nice and long, a little stretch here. Go ahead and plant those hands, step those feet back, downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna take a really brief pause, and then we're gonna do that once more on each side. So, two options here, child's pose for a little bit of a break, or if you'd like, you can find just an iteration of down dog. So maybe you just hang out here, maybe you find that little stretch felt good, so you do that a couple of times. Maybe you wanna keep the challenge, but your wrists are feeling it a little bit, so you bring it down into that dolphin from those elbows. Any of those options, we'll take about 5 nice deep breaths here before we move back into that flow one more time through to finish off our first 40 minutes of this class. And if you take the first couple of moments in one pose and then another starts to sound like it'll be good, feel free to switch it up. So if you thought downward dog was going to be good, but you start to feel it a little bit differently, don't be afraid to press into that child's pose. Give me 2 more nice deep breaths here. All right, and then when you finish that second deep breath, wherever you are, let's bring it back into that downward facing dog. So if you brought those knees down, I want you to go ahead and bring it up. If you brought those elbows down, I want you to go ahead and bring it up. Like I said, we're just gonna find one more time on each side. So our inhale presses up onto those toes. That exhale bends those knees and sits those hips back. We're gonna do that one more time. Inhale presses us up tall all the way under those toes. Exhale sits those hips back, bends at those knees. Inhale brings us right back to that center downward facing dog. Exhale shifts those shoulders out over those wrists, and then through our chaturanga from the toes or knees we lower down. All the way to the floor. We find that little baby cobra lift. Bring those hands up, extend out to our T. Pull them back in, lower the chest back down, curl those toes under your hips, go up and back, downward facing dog. Next, inhale finds that 3-legged dog on the right. Press that foot up and back. Open up through the hip if it feels good here, or just keep that leg long if that's not quite right today. Next, big inhale, lengthens that leg back up, and our exhale sweeps it forward, planting that foot, bringing that left knee down into our low lunge. Twice in each direction once again. Exhale presses us forward. Inhale shifts us back. One more time, just like that. Our exhale presses us forward. Our inhale shifts us back. And then that last exhale brings us back forward into that low lunge. From here, we've got our spinal twist. Curl that back toe under, lift that back knee. Left hand stays planted, right arm opens up. Nice. Exhale brings us back down. When you find your balance, our inhale sweeps those arms up, press the lunge. Exhale pulls those palms together when you get to the top and pulls the hands down to heart center. One more spinal twist. Left elbow goes to right knee, opening up, palm on top of palm. Nice. That inhale brings us back to center, lengthens those arms. Exhale folds us forward just briefly, rocks that left foot forward to meet the right. Next, inhale sits us into our chair. Sweep those arms up, sit those hips back. Last eagle on this side, lifting that right leg, stepping it over top of the left, sitting those hips down. Once again, the right is on top, so the right arm can go underneath for that little twist of those hands. You're also welcome to just keep those arms long if that's a little bit easier for you. Awesome. Next inhale, extends that left leg, steps that right foot back down, and folds us back forward with a big exhale. Nice, we're gonna just go one more time through, so go ahead and step those feet back into our downward facing dog. We've got those two little mini rocket launchers here, so our inhale presses us up onto those toes. Our exhale bends those knees. Kind of getting ready to launch off here. Inhale presses us up onto those toes. Exhale presses us back, bending at those knees. And our inhale brings us back to that nice center downward facing dog. Exhale floats the shoulders out over the wrists, and from the toes or knees we lower through our chaturanga to bring it all the way down to the floor. Lifting the chest just slightly off, baby cobra. Lift those hands, extend them out into that T. Pull them back in. Plant them. Curl the toes under, hips go up and back, downward facing dog. Next inhale brings that left foot up and back, three-legged dog. Take that moment for that hip opener if it feels good. You're bending that knee, opening it up, finding that balance challenge. If you found that, that next inhale lengthens that left leg, and our exhale sweeps it forward into that low lunge. That twice each direction, so go ahead and set that right knee down. Let the top of that foot meet the mat. Exhale shifts us forward. Inhale shifts us back. Same thing, one more time. Exhale shifts us forward. Inhale shifts us back. Exhale shifts us back forward. Curls that right toe under, lift the knee. Leave that right hand down, open up to the left. Exhale pulls that back down. With that next inhale, find that balance, sweep the arms up. Crescent lunge. Pull the palms together, exhale, bring them down to heart center. Spinal twist, right elbow to left knee. Next inhale brings us back to center, lengthens those arms. Exhale folds us forward just briefly, steps that right foot forward to meet the left. Inhale sits us into that chair, hips go back, arms come up. Nice. Eagle, final time here, lift that left foot off, press it over the right. Sit those hips back. Left is on top, so we're going to bring it into those arms. That left arm goes underneath. A little pause, a little hold here. Nice. Next inhale lengthens those arms if they were crossed. Brings that foot up, and then go ahead and place it down. Find that forward. All right, so from here, we're actually just going to roll it up to standing. So next inhale rolls us up. And we're about done with our first 40. Perfect. So, like I said, we are just going to meet standing at the top of our mat here. So right where we finished our last little flow. And like I said, we're just going to kind of keep it simple. We'll do a sun sal with just a crescent lunge in it. So just to kind of get us started, we're going to spend a couple moments in our forward fold. So from this mountain pose, our inhale brings those arms out and up. Nice and long away from center, stretch towards that ceiling. With your next big exhale, go ahead and roll it on down. Swan diving it forward into that forward fold. So we're going to spend a couple of moments in this. So finding what feels right. Maybe you don't usually let the head release in this, so maybe you take that moment here. Maybe if it feels good to kind of move a little bit side to side, you can find that nice little spinal twist. Maybe you find that opposite hand with that, or that opposite elbow with that opposite hand. Or just kind of a ragdoll here. Just taking this moment, kind of recentering, refocusing. If you found that opposite elbow, you should go ahead and lengthen those arms back down towards the floor. We're going to find a couple of halfway lifts into our flat back. So our next inhale is just going to lift us up halfway. Find that long spine, pulling those shoulder blades just slightly together. And that exhale folds us back forward. We're just going to find that a couple of times here. Inhale is going to pull us up into that flat back long spine. Exhale is gonna fold us down, rounding out, finding that stretch. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale pulls us up to that halfway lift. Exhale folds us forward. 1 more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale folds us forward. Now here's where we're gonna get started moving. We're gonna step our right foot back long. So taking it back, keeping that heel up off of the floor, bending through that left knee. Our next inhale sweeps those arms up into that crescent lunge just briefly here. We're gonna find a hold for a breath. So our exhale settles us into it. Our inhale lengthens those arms just a little bit more. And our exhale folds us forward, bringing those hands down to the mat. That left foot is gonna step back to meet the right, downward facing dog. So pressing it up, bringing it back. Our exhale floats the shoulders out over the wrists from the toes or knees. We lower through our chaturanga by below. Inhale presses us up into that up dog or that cobra. So thighs can stay down or thighs can come up. Exhale turns those toes over, presses those hips up and back. From here, we'll take that little bend into those knees, and then with our next exhale, we're going to step those feet forward to meet those hands. Our next inhale rolls us all the way back up to that extended mountain, so finishing with those arms up long. Pulling those palms together, exhale brings us down to heart center. There's 1 time through, we're just going to keep going. That next inhale takes those arms up nice and long. Exhale folds us forward, down into that forward fold. This time we're only going to find 1 of those halfway lifts, so our inhale brings us to that flat back, long spine. Exhale folds us forward. We've got our crescent lunge from here. Go ahead and step that left foot back long, heel stays off the ground. Our next inhale sweeps those arms up, find your balance. Exhale settles into it just slightly, bending a little bit more through that knee. Inhale lengthens the arms a little bit more. Exhale folds us forward. Plants those hands, steps the right back to meet the left. Bring it on back into that downward facing dog. Our exhale floats the shoulders out over the wrists into that high plank. And then we lower down from toes or knees. Inhale presses the chest up, cobra, low cobra or up dog. Exhale turns the toes over, presses the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Nice little bend through those knees. Exhale steps or jumps those feet forward to meet the hands. Next inhale rolls us all the way up, extended mountain. Pull the palms together, exhale brings them down to heart center. Keeping it going here. Inhale takes those arms up long. Exhale folds us forward. Halfway lift with that inhale. Exhale folds it down. We've got our right foot going back into that crescent lunge, so take it back, keep that heel off the ground. Our inhale sweeps the arms up. Our exhale sinks into it a little bit deeper. Our inhale extends the torso a little longer, and our exhale folds us down. Take that left back to meet the right in our downward dog. Exhale floats the shoulders out over the wrists to our high plank. From the toes or the knees, we lower through our chaturanga. Inhale presses the chest up, cobra or up dog. Exhale turns the toes over, hips go up and back, down and up. Nice bend through those knees, step or jump those feet forward to meet the hands. Inhale rolls us all the way up to our extended mountain. Pull the palms together. Exhale brings us down to heart center. Let's keep it going. Inhale brings those arms up. Exhale folds us forward. Halfway lift. Flat back, long spine. Exhale folds us forward. Left foot steps back for our crescent lunge. Our next inhale sweeps those arms up. Exhale sinks into it a little bit deeper. Inhale extends the torso a little longer. Exhale folds us forward. Plants those hands, right foot goes back to meet the left. Downward dog. Exhale floats the shoulders out over the wrists. From toes or knees through chaturanga, we lower. Elbows stay close to the body. Inhale presses the chest up. Exhale turns the toes over, hips go up and back. Nice bend through those knees, step or jump those feet forward to meet the hands. Inhale rolls us all the way up to that extended mountain. Pull the palms together. Exhale down to heart center. Inhale takes us up. Exhale folds us forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Flat back. Exhale, fold it down. Take that right foot back. Inhale, sweeps the arms up, crescent. Exhale, sinks into it. Inhale, extends the torso. Exhale, folds us down. Left goes back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Exhale, shifts the shoulders out over the wrists. From the toes or knees, we lower down. Inhale, presses the chest up, cobra or up dog. Exhale, turns the toes over. Hips go up and back. Nice little bend through those knees. Step or jump those feet forward to meet the hands. Inhale, rolls us all the way up. Extended mountain. We're going to move through this just one more time, you guys. Just to hit that second side. Exhale, pulls the hands to heart center. Last time through. Inhale, takes the arms up. Exhale, folds us forward. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back on the spine. Exhale, fold it down. Left foot steps back this time. Heel stays off the ground. Inhale, sweeps the arms up into that crescent lunge. Find your balance. Exhale, sinks it down a little bit deeper. Inhale, extends the torso. Exhale, folds it forward. Plants those hands. Step the right back towards the left, downward facing dog. Exhale, floats the shoulders out over the wrists to our high plank. From the toes or knees, we lower down. Keep those elbows glued to your sides. Inhale to press up, cobra or up dog. Exhale to turn the toes over, hips go up and back. A little bend through those knees, step or jump those feet forward to meet the hands. Inhale rolls us all the way up. Extended mountain. Palms come together. Exhale pulls us down to heart center. All right, we're gonna take a couple more moments here just to do a little bit of work from hands and knees. Then we'll finish with just a really brief Shavasana relaxation, just minute and a half max. So take that inhale to bring the arms out and up. Exhale, folds us forward. Step those feet back into our high plank. And then nice and gently go ahead and set those knees down so that we're in that hands and knees position. All right, so we'll start this with just our cat and cow for a couple of breaths. That inhale drops the belly towards the floor and lifts the chest. That exhale rounds the spine out towards the ceiling and tucks the chin in towards the chest. Go ahead and move through that just a couple of times here. Excellent. All right, go ahead and take one more nice deep breath, one more time in each direction for me. When you finish that last breath, I just want you to bring that spine back to neutral. So I want to do a little bit of work here just on those shoulder blades. So normally I would do this as kind of a prep, but I wanted to put it in at the end here while we're doing this work. So we're just going to do what I lovingly refer to as scapula push-ups. It's not a push-up in the normal way that we would be bending the elbows and bringing the chest down towards the floor, but rather we're going to work through our shoulder blades to kind of find that activation, that range of motion. So I'm keeping my elbows long from this position. I'm pulling my shoulder blades together and my chest kind of drops. So I'll do it from here so you can kind of see when I drop my chest, I'm just pulling my shoulder blades together behind me and kind of opening up. From there, we're just going to extend those shoulder blades apart and kind of pull the chest and the spine up away from the mat. So just kind of find this range of motion a couple of times here. Keep those elbows nice and long so we're not bringing the chest towards the floor with the bend in the elbows, but rather with the shoulder blades moving. And this is a little bit weird feeling for you, that's okay. It's kind of a tricky range of motion the first couple times that you do it. Now, if this feels good or like not super challenging, you've got a lot of control over that range of motion, you can take it up towards actual scapula push-ups. So again, if you're a weightlifter or you do anything like that, you can kind of bring it into that challenge, strengthen those shoulder blades from that plank position. Take about 3 more breaths doing it. If you want to find that challenge and try it out, you can pull it up onto those toes. If you feel good from those hands and knees, which I am definitely good from here today, you can just stick right here and just find it a couple more times. So once again, just working on that control range of motion there with the shoulder blades, super important for posture. Find one more nice deep breath. and then bring it back to neutral. We do one more little bit of work, so go ahead and drop those knees if you found that plank position. We're gonna do our bird dogs. So that right hand and that left knee are gonna lift off of the mat. With our inhale, we're gonna extend them really long in each direction. So super long line from fingertips to toes. And with our exhale, we're gonna pull the elbow and the knee towards each other in the center. So an inhale lengthens, same kind of range of motion as our cat. And then that or our cow, and then that exhale pulls it in, rounds out the spine towards the ceiling. Just find that a couple times for me here. A little balance, a little bit of work for the wrists, but also a really great spinal strengthening exercise here. Finding that extension and then pulling in. Find 3 more breaths with that right hand and that left foot. And a little challenge, if you want a little stretch, keep it extended at the end. Bring that hand around, bend that knee, and catch that foot. So a little bit more of a balance challenge. And then just press the hand and the foot towards each other. So I'm still on my right hand and my left foot. I'm just in this a little bit of a spinal extension position. One more nice big inhale there. And with that exhale, go ahead and release. Bring the right hand and the left knee down to the floor. Now take a moment if you need it, sit back towards those heels, give that left wrist a little bit of a roll if it feels good. Or you can get started on that second side right away. So same thing as the other side. This time that left hand and that right leg are going to extend super long as we inhale, and as we exhale, we're pulling the elbow and the knee together. So again, really looking for that length. If you took that break, go ahead and join me here if you haven't already. Finding that posterior chain strengthening all the way through the back of the legs, through the shoulders. Nice job. Awesome, you guys. Give me 3 more of those. 3 more nice deep breaths here. And then we'll find that same little challenge at the end if you want it. So after that last one, you're going to take this, turn that left hand around, you're bending that right knee, touching the foot if you can, and then pressing them towards each other for that little bit of spinal extension. If that doesn't feel good, you can always bring it into just a cat-cow or a child's pose. One more nice inhale if you're in this position. And then that exhale, nice and gently releases. Brings that hand down, brings that knee down. We're going to finish out in child's pose here. Take those knees wide, sit the hips back towards the heels. Take those arms out nice and long, and take a moment here to find what feels right. So maybe you walk those hands over to the right side or the left side. Maybe in center, you find a little tricep stretch by bending the elbows and bringing those hands to the shoulders. Taking just a moment or two here to release and relax. Find your breath once again. All right. Like I said, we're going to take about a minute and a half of a Shavasana. So from here, I want to invite you to find just a comfortable position. If child's pose feels really good today, maybe you stay here. If it's not your jam today, maybe you bring it over onto your back, or maybe even just seated if that's what feels good today. Finding a comfortable position for just our final relaxation. And I don't often do this because I think it's something that you guys could take the time after class, but I do want to take the time today to just find a little bit of final relaxation. So comfortable position on your back, comfortable position seated, or maybe you're still in that child's pose. Now from here, all we're going to do is bring our body awareness back. So we took that time at the very beginning just to notice how we were feeling today, to notice our breath. And I want you to just do that again. Take that scan of the body. Notice if you're feeling a little bit different in some places. Notice if maybe some places are a little bit more tired, but maybe some places are feeling a little bit better now that we got moving and got going a little bit. After you've taken that scan of the body, I want you to take that moment and just find your breath again. finding that expansion of the lungs, so giving them all that space as you expand through the chest and the belly. And maybe this feels a little bit different if you're in that child's pose or if you're in a different position. To find that expansion, the body moves a little bit differently. Just noticing that. We should find 2 more nice deep breaths there. As you find those breaths, really filling in those lungs as much as you can, pulling in that new air. And as you exhale, expelling all that old air, trying to get as much of it out of your lungs as you can. After those last 2 super deep breaths, kind of bring your breathing back to a normal pace, to a normal depth. If there's a range of motion here that'll feel good, maybe if you're in child's pose, you walk the hands side to side. If you're laying on your back, maybe you pull the knees in towards the chest, or just roll the head and the neck side to side. If you're seated, maybe it's a spinal twist. Find that range of motion if it feels good, or if you're feeling very comfortable where you are, you're welcome to stay just right in that position for 3 more nice deep breaths. That third nice deep breath, all I'm going to have you do is start to transition to a comfortable seated position. So if you're up on the knees from child's pose, we'll just be here for 2 nice deep breaths. If you were laying, I invite you to roll onto one side or roll right up to that seated position. Take a moment here to find your comfortable seat. Like I said, we'll find 2 deep breaths. We're going to lead with those arms. So that next big inhale, lead with those arms, bringing them out and up towards the ceiling as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring them down and around, relaxing those shoulders, releasing that breath. Same thing one more time, this time the palms meet overhead. Inhale brings us out and up. Palms meet right up overhead. Exhale pulls the hands down to heart center. Thank you, as always, for sharing your Monday evenings with me. I so appreciate you being here. The light in me honors, the light in you bowing as we say namaste.